What a weekend of football. Football is truly back. And we're going to go into so many different things in this video. If you're a Barcelona fan, stay tuned because I'm going to be doing a slight analysis on their game yesterday against Elche, 5-0 victory. If you're a Real Madrid fan, stay tuned for this video because I'm going to do an in-depth analysis against Espanyol, which is something we have to look into. And if you support Man United, if you support Liverpool, if you support Atleti, if you support PSG, you want to stay tuned because, again, there's something in this video for you. I'm going to be looking at different things, talking about different things, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it because it's going to be literally saturated with ball knowledge, understanding, and the ideology of football and the psychology behind the sport itself. And I want to go into it. But guys, before I continue, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe. Almost 80% of you guys are not subscribed to my channel that watch my videos. And guys, I would love it if you just become a part of the Coop family. Just become a part of it. You're going to enjoy it as much as I can. I'll put out the content that you guys want, you guys love. But subscribe, because there's only 20% of my actual subscribers that watch my videos, which is incredible. I know you guys see me on your For You page. I know some people watch YouTube and they don't have an account, but they always see me, so they click on my videos. I appreciate the love, but guys, let's subscribe, support the channel in all ways possible. I know you guys want to see a bigger board, so we need support. There are memberships up as well, so you guys can become members as well to support the channel. So make sure you do that. We need to start going up on that. But yeah, guys, let's get into the video. I want to just talk about FC Barcelona. You guys are annoying. Yeah, you are annoying. Hansi Flick is an annoying manager because all Hansi Flick cares about is, I want to win, but I want to destroy the opposition. Oh yeah, let's just start La Liga on a 5-0 away from home at Elche. Elche were terrible, don't get me wrong. But FC Barcelona were absolutely majestic. And I want to highlight a few things. With FC Barcelona, I think it's very, very important that a few things are highlighted in the way that they played. And I'm not really going to go in depth too much, but I want you guys to kind of understand something. So, first of all, I want to point out to these two players, Rafinha and Fermín López. Now, Fermín López, when I saw him play at the Olympics a couple of years ago, I thought to myself, Barcelona are doing the world a disservice. The reason why I say this is because Fermín López is an absolute baller. But he's not really been given the freedom at FC Barcelona to, to showcase, that's the word, his talents. He is exceptional. Now, the first goal, I loved it because Fermín López was involved. He got the ball after Barcelona pressed, played the ball directly into Rafinha, and Rafinha obviously got the penalty, which was a penalty. We always complain about Barcelona penalties, but that was a clear penalty, and Rafinha scored. But Fermín López, what I loved, he scored the first goal. Gordon just squared it to him. All that space in behind. If you give that to Barcelona, you're going to be in trouble. And then Fermín López's second goal. That is class. That is wow. The touch, the turn to protect the ball, and then shift it to the left-hand side so the defender can't recover. And then, oh my goodness, this is what I'm trying to talk to you guys about. That's what you call a footballista with IQ. But it's something I want to talk about before I go into Rafinha, because we know Rafinha is the GA merchant. The guy is just, goals, assist. He's back. And one thing I like about these two is this is how you see Elche line up, yeah? This is Elche lining up right now, guys. But let me show you something that I think was absolutely superb from FC Barcelona in this way that they played. And I think it's something that you guys need to really, really look into. And I was severely, I use it like in a certain term, but severely impressed by FC Barcelona. And here's the reason why. So, boom, you have the goalkeeper on the ball. As soon as this goalkeeper has the ball, He plays it into here. This guy, Fermin Lopez, is pressing. If the goalkeeper goes there, Rafinha is pressing, and Fermin Lopez will go boom here. Lamine Yamal. Of course, in the midfield, you have Bernal. Barcelona did not care to not press. If that pass is played there, if he's too late, he might drop in here. Okay, you still got a problem. But if he presses in there, you're going to see him. Forget that guy. Press him. He's going to tuck around and press him. And we know Barcelona. High line. Boom. They're going to force you to lose the ball to play a long ball. But it was the work rate, especially from Fermin Lopez. I highlight him because I watched him. This was super micro analysis. And I thought to myself, first game of the season? And you're literally pressing every ball. You, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal. I mean, Adeyemi. And it's something that Hansi Flick has made Barcelona much more difficult to play against. And I always go for the high line because I think, of course, in every structure, there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons. But in reality, when you play smaller teams like this, you suffocate them. And in La Liga, we saw with Espanyol, teams can play football. But Barcelona work rate off the ball is impeccable. And we have to talk about it. I was looking at the players and I was like, that makes sense. It makes sense. In that heat, that humidity, they have to take drinks breaks. But these players are willing to run their socks off for this manager. It's consistent. That's something when you even look at other teams. And this is where I'm going to talk about Manchester United, because against Hull City, they didn't have that. It doesn't matter if you guys think, oh, we are the best players on this pitch. You know, give us the ball. I'm just going to play my football. You're not going to go into a game against any team in the top divisions and just earn the right to win the game. You have to work for it. And Barcelona worked for it. And that's something that they do consistently. Yes, we can criticize the high line, but with the high line comes the high press. And I believe that Hansi Flick says, if you're not going to work for me, you're getting off the pitch. And that's something that FC Barcelona players did absolutely consistently, and they deserve the win. And that's something that I think Real Madrid can model. It's not about egos. It's about the team. It's about the structure. It's about the chemistry, and it's about winning the game. They're destructive, FC Barcelona. But I must talk about the work rate because that was absolutely superb. Now you add Rodri, you add Pedri in the second half, and you saw the difference in quality of FC Barcelona in this game. But I love the work rate from Fermin Lopez. I have to shout him out. You know, Alejandro Balde was out the team. Is he leaving? Potentially. That's news. Manchester United are interested in him. Let's see if that actually works out. If that happens, it might actually happen. He might be the cheaper option than Lewis Hall. Let's see what happens. Alejandro Balde, they say he's injury prone. He has played a lot of minutes in the last 3 seasons. He's not really a player that I've seen progress over time. But I don't know if his injuries have stunted him. You know, I don't know. I just think there's a good player in there, but it's not been consistent in terms of his form. Another player I need to talk about, apart from Adeyemi scoring in his debut, Gordon having the assist, he must be thinking, how much space do I have in this league? Gordon comes from the Premier League, is Lamine Yamal. And I just think Lamine Yamal, something's wrong. Something's not right. I see him win a World Cup and the guy doesn't look as happy as Lamine Yamal won the Euros. I see him at the World Cup and it wasn't good performances, and we know potentially he was injured, but after the World Cup, he's fine. I see him in training, trains well. But yesterday just looked sad. He looked a shadow of himself. I think on the ball, the runs he was making wasn't too bad, but again, the output, and 19 years old, is it too heavy? You know, people saying best player in the world and all these things. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say on the ball, he's the most exciting to watch. Does that mean you're the best in the world? It never really did in the past. So I don't know why it means that now. So do I think he's the best in the world? No, I don't. Because I think the best players in the world have to consistently perform at the highest level, game in and game out. A lot of people don't watch the games of Lamine Yamal that say this. Majority of people watch him in specific games, maybe in the Champions League, in La Liga, and then say, oh, he's the best in the world. But I don't know. There's something psychological that doesn't make sense with the kid. And he is still a kid. Is it off the pitch? I don't know. But he looks sad. He looks a shadow of himself. Hopefully he returns back to form. Or not hopefully for Madrid fans, of course. But for football, yes. But overall, I think FC Barcelona were supreme. There's another thing we have to talk about. Is Julian Alvarez. Now, what happened yesterday was crazy. Because we're talking about a player that apparently the hierarchy of Atletico Madrid told Diego Simeone to put him on the bench because they wanted to see humiliation, apparently. The fans booed him at the end of the game, and during the game and before the game, he was just looking down, dejected, sorrowful, sad, absolutely distraught. And at the end of the game, just walks off, fans just booing him. Someone threw a shirt at him, didn't care, because he wants to go to FC Barcelona. Now, this is a player that scored how many goals in the first 2 seasons for Manchester City? He opted to leave because he was a second choice striker and said, I'm going to go to Atletico Madrid. So now Atletico come in for you. They pay almost 100 million euros, pounds, I don't know. They kind of build a team around you. Are they a defensive team? Predominantly, yes. But they give you the keys. Last season, 9 goals in La Liga. Terrific in the Champions League again, as he is. You know, he can do all things. We know he's a terrific striker. So this is not towards his talent, but attitude. And now because you want to force a move out, you're training by yourself. You are angry with the club. I don't know. You have at least, 4 years left on the deal? Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. The club are not obliged to sell you. As a club, would I keep a player that doesn't want to stay there? No, I wouldn't. And Pep Guardiola did that at Man City. He said, if you want to leave, I'll let you leave. But at the same time, they're not obliged to strengthen FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, or any other rivals. Now, Arsenal won him. That's clear. That's evident. I don't think he wants to go back to the Premier League and England. He conquered football there. Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, he won everything. London might be appealing to him. I mean, he lives in Madrid, an amazing city. He wants to go to Barcelona. Again, a very good city. But maybe the team suits his style. There's a gap. Barcelona need a striker, and they're probably waiting for it to be Alvarez. But the attitude just stinks, and I don't think you can continue being like that. It just doesn't make sense. But now we need to get into Real Madrid. It's very important that I talk about the game. It's very important that I look circumspectly into some of the issues and some of the things that Real Madrid did well. Just before I get into it, Ferran Torres scored 2 goals for PSG yesterday. And I think it's important I mention this because in terms of football holistically, this will be very important. Now, we're talking about a player that a lot of people question. I went to a game in 2021, Manchester City at the Etihad against Arsenal. I believe City won 5-1. Ferran Torres did score. And what I saw until this day surprised me. Off the ball, Ferran Torres' movement is world class. You guys ask, why does he always play? He misses a lot of chances. FC Barcelona fans, complained a lot, more than Man City fans, of course. His off the ball movement, because he played as a striker in that game in the Premier League, is impeccable. They even had to ship Gabriel Jesus as a right winger in that game, just because Ferran Torres is very good with his movement. Now, did he get the ball all the time? No, but his movement is impeccable. We saw that with a goal yesterday. The first goal, he was onside, finished it. Second goal, the header, how he just ran in front of the defender and headed it. And then the World Cup final, again, right place, right time. But it's not a fluke. It's not a mistake. It's not luck. This man has very good movement. Is he the best finisher ever? No. But his movement is absolutely impeccable. What a signing. But one thing I want to point out is Luis Enrique. He's showing other managers, especially Michael Carrick, in terms of Bruno Fernandes, that I'm the boss and that there are standards. Luis Enrique said after the game, PSG haven't won anything yet. People are like, back-to-back Champions League. He said, yes. The season has just started. So the past season, we forget about it. We start again. At halftime, he subbed Ousmane Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. He brought on new signings, Mika Götze and Ferran Torres, who in the end saved the game for PSG. That's a sign to Dembele, you cannot drop your standards. And Dembele, in the last couple of games, has been skying the ball over the bar, which I don't understand why, but he has. So there's something that he's looking at, he's thinking, nah, I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this version of Dembele. He's got to work on it. He's got to work on himself. Kvaratskhelia, if you're not going to play to the level I want you, you're on the bench. Desiree said it last season. A lot of players have said it last season. If you don't run for this manager, you don't play. If you don't play to the standards, you don't play. Now, that's a manager that is running a team and saying there's no player bigger than the club. Michael Carrick, you cannot think you cannot drop Bruno Fernandes. Jose Mourinho, you cannot think you cannot drop Vinicius Jr. or Kylian Mbappe. Unfortunately for some, Kylian Mbappe is always performing at a certain level, always. Even if he has a bad game, you know he's missed one or two chances. It's not a bad game as in everything's horrific, like he can't dribble, the passes are going astray. No, even when he first arrived at Madrid, if you guys are being honest, Mbappe without scoring, but look at the chances he was missing. He was still in thereabouts, still being able to dribble players. It just was not working for him because mentally there was a blockage. That's something I spoke about in this video about Lamine Yamal. There's a mental blockage. It's psychological. But managers have to be managers. You have to stand up to big players. That's what you have to do. Now, when I'm talking about Real Madrid, again, what's important to understand is the system. Because the individuals will always make the difference at Real Madrid. You've got a system. Boom. Simple as that. It's simple. We kind of know what Madrid are going to do this season. That is Real Madrid in a nutshell. Okay? This is the system. 4-2-3-1. Behind there, you have Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe. I said I want Yandio, but of course, they had Arda Güler and they had Vinicius Jr. Now, Arda Güler, as much as he was here, again, he played in the half space rather than playing on the touchline. So in the half space here, and Jude Bellingham in the half space there. So that kind of left this to Vinny to kind of stay on the left. And again, this is what I say, it's lopsided. Now, don't get me wrong, Jude Bellingham will drop in here, Jude Bellingham will drop in here. You see Jude Bellingham almost everywhere. So sometimes you have the formation like this, but again, you don't see as much balance with Real Madrid until you obviously shift it. Now, Arda Güler is an absolute maestro. I want you guys to understand how good Arda Güler actually is. The first goal, what a cross to Jude Bellingham for the header. What a cross on a sixpence. The skill he did is just Mesut Ozil personified. I mean, it's a mirror. It's a clone. He's his twin. Touch is graceful. His IQ is on another level. And he, like I said, and I'm upset because a lot of Madrid fans said, oh, why did you put in your predictable lineup Arda Güler in every game? Why does he always have to start? No. Someone even said to me, oh, Valverde and Arda Güler, Mourinho will play Mbappe in midfield before that even happens. Okay, and then what happened on the first game of the season? Valverde and Arda Güler are in midfield alongside each other with Bernardo and with Jude Bellingham. There you go. So I know a bit. But my thing is, how do they balance it? Because, of course, you want to play Bernardo Silva deeper. But Bernardo Silva, again, is not that six that Madrid need. Is he a player that would have been good alongside the six? Yes. Because he has experience, but he's not the player that Madrid need. Arda Güler, would I want him in this zone here? I won't say that I do because he's so creative. You want him in this zone here. You don't want Arda Güler so deep. Again, Jude Bellingham, terrific player. But Jude Bellingham, I don't want to say he's not creative, but I think with Jude, it's more or less like he can do all things. And he literally can. There's no midfielder that I look at and I think you can do what Jude Bellingham can do. Jude Bellingham is top level. When he's like this, he's top level. And of course, he's a starter. But is he a creator? That's something I want to see more from Jude. That's a question I posed to Jude himself. Like, are you the creator? Are you going to facilitate Kylian Mbappe, Yandio, and Vinicius Jr.? That's another level to Jude's game that I believe he can add. Because thus far, I don't see as much. Does that mean he cannot create? I didn't say that. It's quite clear he can create. And he does create. But to become a creator, meaning I'm facilitating the teammates that are in higher positions or teammates that are more likely to score. Por ejemplo, in Spanish, it means, for example, Kylian Mbappé is a striker. I'm here to facilitate the goal scorers, the goal scorer. That's my job. And that's something that Arda Güler does so well. Another thing is, when Arda Güler drops in this space, and we saw it against Espanyol, Denzel Dumfries, something that Trent doesn't do as much, will make this run or will make that run. And somebody like Arda Güler, he can play that pass into there. And we saw it. That's why it's a difficult one for Jose Mourinho. Because Jose Mourinho, the thing is, let's say you boom Denzel Dumfries, you want to play 2-10-ish Jude and Arda Güler. If you were to sacrifice Bernardo, for example, and put Yandio, or left with Valverde there, or Aurelien Tchouameni, which I think you could do this more with Tchouameni. But I wouldn't, because I think Valverde can cover ground. Is that going to be balanced for Madrid? I think it can be if Jude Bellingham probably adopts this kind of role. So that means sometimes off the ball, this is how Madrid are going to be. And then maybe Arda in there, or maybe Arda just a bit closer to them there. That's the only way I see that really working out. But with Jude as the 10, I don't know. And this is something that Jose Mourinho has to think about. Because again, if Arda is playing higher up here, Madrid create more chances. That is his... I don't think people realize how good Arda Güler was going to be. I don't think people realize how good Arda Güler is. I think Mourinho coming into Madrid and looking at him thinking, this guy probably undroppable, poses a big problem to some of Madrid's players. It really does. And now with those questions asked, when I looked at the game on Saturday, I can forgive Vinicius Jr. because I believe in La Liga, Madrid always tend to start a bit slower. My thing is, with Barcelona, can you afford to actually start a bit slower? I don't think you can. They've signed Rodri, so I don't think you can. You just cannot. And Madrid needed to win. They needed to win that game. Make no mistake about it. Espanyol are a good team. Kylian Mbappé, onto Kylian Mbappé, he was absolutely out of this world. Take away the goal. But his sharpness, explosive power, footballing IQ, link up. And when Kylian Mbappé went to the left, and again, we saw the same thing that we always see. Mbappé goes to the left, Vinicius Jr. says, I'm not going anywhere else. It becomes a problem. So they're not going to play together. That's just how it is. They cannot play together. Because when Mbappé goes here, Vinny should be like, boom, I'm spinning, I'm going into the box. Vinny just says, oh, you know what, I'm just going to stand there. Which, again, is a problem. But once Mbappé goes here or has you anywhere here, we saw it with that touch that he took, the defender and ran in here. I mean, Mbappé on the left is frightening. You know, he is absolutely frightening. I don't know what's the word that Jose Mourinho used. I need to find it. He used the word to describe Mbappé in training. He said he's from a different stratosphere. That's what he said. Mbappé is from a different stratosphere. That's what he said. When I saw him in training, it's different. We've seen the training clips. I've shown you on my videos. It's not even close. Yandio and Kylian Mbappé in 1v1 is not even close. He's unbelievable. Another 40-plus goal season, should he be fit, and hopefully trophies. Now, Alvaro Carreras was magnificent, and maybe he's magnificent now because Madrid have signed Cucurella. So he's like, I can't sleep no more. I got to be awake. I cannot sleep. I cannot rest on my laurels, so to speak. He's crazy. But again, people want to blame Valverde for the goal. Yes, I will blame Valverde for the goal, but it was not just Valverde because Alvaro Carreras should have followed the man. You should never leave your man. And remember, Valverde is pointing to the man, but Valverde is still looking at the play. Carreras can see the whole play, so he has to react accordingly. That was a silly goal to concede, but an amazing build-up from Espanyol. You can just applaud them for that. Bernardo Silva, did he have enough of an impact? I don't think so. I've seen him have better games than that. But again, level-headed in the midfield. Madrid still need that midfielder. They still need a tempo setter in there. I think Dumfries did all right. Trent did really well when he came on. We have to talk about Vinicius Jr. and Yandio. I want to talk about Vinicius Jr. first. Questions will be asked. Because as much as we've got the patience, as much as we know Vini will come good, it is a case of that was a very low-level performance from Vinicius Jr. It's the type that you don't really see at Real Madrid for the level that he's at. It's the type that when a player says, we're going to 10x or 1x after losing the Ballon d'Or, we're going to come back. And since then, we've seen a shadow of Vinicius Jr. I mean, he came back the next season, that amazing performance against Borussia Dortmund. And apart from that, I've not been amazed by any Vinicius Jr. performances for Real Madrid. And that's concerning. It's almost as if the Real Madrid fans have been deceived into thinking that 23-24 Vini is the 26-27 Vini. And he's not. And he needs to get back to that very fast. I'll give Vini 2 months. If he's not, you know what we're going to say. We're going to have to be honest. We're not going to be around the bush. And I'm not really one to look at the SOFA score and the rating. I watched the game with my eyes. And the contribution was not it. It was not it. Don't even watch the compilation of that game and all the touches from Vini. You won't even be happy. You won't be happy at all. And it's a significant contrast to the performance of Yandy Omande. The IQ of this teenager to realize 2v1, I don't always have to take on the man. I can try and attempt. If there's no gaps, boom, I pass it. This is something you probably wouldn't be used to as much because, yes, in Germany, you do get obviously the odd teams that know, okay, Yandio is playing good. Leipzig, he's a dangerous player. But there's a lot of space. As you saw, Espanyol quite deep. There's not much space in behind. Look at the goal that Madrid ended up scoring with Carlos Espi at right inside the box. I mean, look where they were lined up. It was so difficult. But his timing of passes, ability to play 1-2, his speed, can cross the ball as well. That's a brilliant debut. That's a kind of debut that I'll be proud of. Not every debut needs to have an assist or goal. There's more to it than that. He's playing on the right side, by the way. And guys, this weekend we've seen players play on the right side that have struggled when they're right-footed. Rio Ingamoa, we've seen it. Like, it's not the same when you're playing on the same side. It's very difficult. Patrick Dorgu, we've seen it. So for a young player to play on the right side, being right-footed and still being accomplished, looking accomplished, it's promising signs for Real Madrid. There's way more to come. I was really impressed by his performance. Honestly, I was impressed by his performance. And I think overall, Carlos Espi is a box 9. We've seen it. We saw it at Leganes. We see it now for Real Madrid. It's something that we can actually say he will bring out the best in the other players when he plays because he's just going to occupy the centre-backs. And that's what happened with the goal. Kylian Mbappe was able to still dribble past his man, and Carlos Espi was in the right place at the right time because he's a box 9. He's right in the center of the goal between the goalposts, which is something Joselu did 23-24 for Real Madrid, and he made a difference. And I think Carlos Espi will be that physical, strong, powerful specimen of a human being. And I think, again, he's very, very lethal in the air. Madrid will do well with him. But overall, I think the midfield of Madrid, not the best, but there's definitely has to be more to come from Real Madrid. And let's see what happens in the coming days, in the coming games as well. I think overall, I'm happy with the 3 points. First game, I think, again, the rhythm is not yet fully there. Players coming back from the World Cup, different fitness levels. With these kind of big teams, it happens a lot of the time. You see it with PSG. You see it with a lot of teams. And I think that's one thing to keep an eye out. So don't go, so upset yet. Our time will come when we can do that. But right now, it's about getting the 3 points. If Barca are winning, Madrid have to definitely win. One more game to kind of talk about before I end this video, I think it's important I talk about it. It is Liverpool against Newcastle. The drop-off after losing Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, Jorginho Wijnaldum. They've lost Konate, who, by the way, I forgot to say was brilliant for Real Madrid. They've lost Trent Alexander-Arnold. They've now lost Robertson. They've lost Firmino. And now I look at the new Liverpool team and I think to myself, this is really bad. This is a level below. This is 2-3 levels below. So Iraola is going to have to do a lot. The counter-attacking against them was too easy. I think the quality Liverpool have is quite poor. I think I need to highlight something that's more important, because I do believe Liverpool will sign wingers. I think they want Barcola and potentially Ibrahim Mbaye or Jakub Minter. But again, Alexander Isak, you've been booed for the whole game. You know, everything you've touched, you know, you could literally see that the fans were getting to you. The occasion was too much. Penalty in the last minute won by Munoz, former Real Madrid La Fabrica player, by the way. And Szoboszlai is a penalty taker. But my brother, this is your moment to say, Boomy and Liverpool fans, I'm here to step up when you need me. £130 million. You say to Szoboszlai, you say to Dominic, give me the ball. I'ma take it. It's been too much. I need to score. I need to shush this crowd. Yes, it's for a 2-2, but I need to step up. And I feel like he bottled it. And it speaks to Isak's mentality. Because I don't think as a top striker at a big club where there's no Mane, there's no Salah, there's no Firmino, all these players have long gone, you know, Jota, RIP. You can now say, I'm the main guy. You and Vert are not showing that at all. And for the money that these guys have been bought for, they don't get criticized enough. Not enough. That was poor. That's not mentality. And I didn't like that from Isak at all. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a long one, but I had to get into things, sorry. I had to talk about these things. It was on my chest. It was on my chest. But guys, make sure you subscribe, like, comment and share the video. And yeah, if you want football shirts like this, vintage football shops, as you can see, Zinedine Zidane, this shirt is absolutely legendary. Of course, if you are French, tu sais, 2006, Zizou, le performance efficace de Zinedine Zidane, au final, jusqu'au final, contre Italie, il est le meilleur joueur du monde, 2006. C'est pas Fabio Cannavaro. C'est Zinedine Zizou Zidane. But yeah, guys, get this one. The link's going to be below. And I'll see you soon.